Hey everybody, thank you very much for coming today. I am Bob from the Creation Station, in case you hadn't guessed from what's up here on the screen. Creation Station is downtown at the main library. This is all for you for free from your library. So you guys need to come on down and visit us to come see all the stuff that we're doing down there. We've got a room a little bit bigger than this space here now. I think Barry's going to organize a field trip for everybody in the spring to come on down and see us and come experience and see what we have in the room with the 3D printers, the virtual reality gear, design center, all that kind of stuff. We'll do a whole class for you down there too. Today is a repeat of a class we did earlier this year, the introduction to virtual reality. There's some new information, so if you sat through the previous class, don't worry, there's new stuff here. I've got a couple of new videos to show you. And when we're all done, I have hands-on with the Oculus Rift and the Microsoft HoloLens. And this is the only time you're ever going to get a chance to use the Microsoft HoloLens unless you come into our Creation Station. So we'll get to that in just a minute here on what and why that is. First, we're going to talk about the terminology you need to know, what's going on in the press, what people are talking about on the news and things, and so that you understand what is really happening and what's not. Reality. Any philosophers? Anyone want to tell me what reality really is? Mediated reality. Mediated reality is where you've got some sort of generated thing on top of your reality around you. A little confusing, we'll get to that in just a minute. Mixed reality is where I've got my reality and I share it with you and I see your reality. I know that sounds a little complicated, but you've probably already done this. If you've done any kind of FaceTime, video, web conferencing, anything like that, that's all it is. It's just a fancy term for webcams. 360 video, and show of hands, who was here last time that I put you on the helicopter ride? Okay, good. About a third of you guys. Okay, good. I've got that again, so we can show off that again. 360 video is something that is live, something that is filmed, that is real, and that's how you know it's not virtual reality, because virtual reality has to be computer generated. If you're seeing the regular world around you, that means it's 360 video. If you're seeing a computer generated screen, then that's virtual reality. Then you've got immersive reality. This is actually what most of us think about when we say virtual reality, because immersive reality is where you are totally immersed in some generated world. You're all part of it. You're able to interact and do things and manipulate and change all the stuff that you want to change. That's what most people are thinking about, and that's a really crazy hard thing to do. We'll talk about it. And the hardest one is augmented reality. That's what Microsoft HoloLens is augmented reality. And we're going to show you some other devices that are close to it now. Augmented is where I have this whole room here. I can see everything here, and then I can have it pop up above your heads, your attendance records, or your grades, or if I'm walking down the street, it pops up Yelp reviews for the restaurants as I'm walking down. So it is something that generates new contextual information based on where you are in reality, which is really hard to pull off. So this mediated mixed reality thing we started talking about. There's a lot of people who have been doing this and playing with this lately. It's kind of sort of if you mix some computer and you do some live and you make, and I know that's mud, isn't it? That's just really a mess. So there's a couple of things on here. One, I'm going to show you a quick video here too, but there's another one you guys might have played. Let's see if I still have. Anybody here play Pokemon Go?
I tried.
There we go, thank you. See, I have never done this in a crowd and not had at least one person. Thank you. Pokemon Go is mediated reality, and I'm going to show you why right now. See, I have faith.
Good thing you're here. Just for you.
ask around, be a hit. My skills pay me. Trying to get a million baby with an adopted flow that God gave me. Me now, tell whoever runs this spot is temporary till I tell me some of my wealth tip. Some will be cash out soon, I'm just investing.
I'm telling you, this is how it works, man. There's a little camera right here.
That's funny. I said that to my brother.
Gonna send this just one quick thing. There we go. So, that is mediated reality. Obviously, everybody sees how the trick is done. Pretty simple, straightforward. Nice big monitor, nice big camera. You're good to go. That is always going to be a tiger. It's never going to be a lion, never going to be a bear. If it starts raining, it's never going to get wet. It's a really cool advertising trick, and you'll notice a lot of these videos and things seem to be advertisements because there's two industries that pick up on new technology really fast, and advertising is one of them. And this allows you to do some funny, quirky things, but beyond that, you're not. So the Pokemon Go example, and if you guys have got kids floating out there or you've heard about people playing this game, it's something you do on your phone where you've got little monsters that you're trying to catch as you're walking around, and it shows you the world around you like this, but it doesn't know what the world is. So it can't put something under a table. It can't put that cat on top of that table over there. It can't put that astronaut over there because it doesn't know that there's a space to put them in. Trust me, there's a cat on that table. It's okay. You didn't step on him. Don't worry. We'll get you to it. Don't worry about that. So, 360 video. This is what most people are thinking about when they say they've seen virtual reality. Because you've done something on your phone in some kind of gear, and you've looked around you and you've seen something that somebody has filmed. In fact, I was just up at FAU in the medical school showing them how we can adapt this technology to do some training for surgery and stuff like that, because then you can have a focus and you can look around the operating room and see what's going on to train. You have to capture this with a special type of camera. So it's not something that's a one piece. You need multiple cameras together. The bare minimum would be 3. You could even do this on your phone if you took 3 cameras and made it around. Yes, they're making some devices that are single now with multiple camera lenses built in. Quality is still okay. It's not really high. To get the really high stuff like we've shown, you need to do a full 12 camera sphere around to do that kind of stuff. But what you're doing is you're getting some sort of virtual reality experience, as most people are saying. And if you follow me on Facebook, you have been annoyed with all the Egyptian tombs that I show off because they're really cool to look around inside of. You can turn your head, when you put it up on your phone, you look around and you look up, down, all around, and you can see from that same point. You're consuming the information still. This is not creativity or anything like that. It's just a nice way of experiencing something that's out there. And you don't need a phone. You don't need any of that. You don't need any fancy gear. You can just do it on your regular tablet, do it on your phone, do it on your computer, and pan around with your finger, with your mouse, with whatever else, and go up and down and all around. When you're out on Facebook, if you see video that's got that little dial in the bottom right-hand corner, that means that's 360 video. So if you stop on it, you can pan up, down, all around on it. So you can go around to see what that person has filmed and done. It will automatically do panoramic video for you if you're filming inside of Facebook now. So everyone can get a chance to do this. You can't jump out of the airplane because unless the camera guy did. So you're still going to be doing whatever that person did. It's just a new way of filming television, essentially. Virtual reality, on the other hand, is fully computer generated, fully able to create a new 3-dimensional world that you can move around and interact with and do things. You want to become immersed in it where you feel like you are able to forget what's around you, forget reality, and go into this new alternative. Now, the trick to that is you're going to need some sort of headset. So you're going to need something that will block out all of the light, all of the things around you, so that it's fully in. We're going to talk about why your phone's not really meant to do that in just a second. You need to be able to manipulate things. So if you need to be able to manipulate objects in virtual reality, you need a way to do that. And if your phone's up at your face, kind of hard to pull that off. Haptic feedback is one way of doing that. I'm going to show that in just a second. 360 sound, though, is something that most people don't think about, but you need. If you really want to be virtual reality, you need to have 360 sound going on around you, because you know what it's like if I am facing this way talking versus this way. You can hear the difference. You can hear the difference when someone who runs around behind you. A lot of us have surround sound at home now. We're all familiar with it in theaters, so you're used to how that works. Think about it when it's immersive reality, though. When it's immersive reality, it's something you can fully interact with and you can listen to and build on and do. So you need to have that 360 sound, because I need to hear that somebody's running behind me so I know to look behind me to see what's happening. If I can't see what's going on around me, I have to be able to hear it. Think about what this means for movies. How do you write a movie where it doesn't matter what you want as the reporter, as the director, as the writer? Because if I go and take this off the table, now how does that change the story? Because I'm interacting and I can do whatever I want. You need to have some sort of haptic feedback for that to work. Haptic feedback you guys are already familiar with. You use it on your phones all the time. Haptic feedback means you get a response back from something that isn't really there. So there's no real button on your phone, but when you tap those keyboards, it feels like you've hit something. Haptic feedback, the easiest, best way to do that in an immersive reality is going to be with gloves. So we put on a glove, and now it feels like I've picked up the soda can. It feels like I'm moving things around and doing stuff. So here you go. Here's your glove. Here you go. Here's a glove. Here you go. Here's a glove. Hi, we're the library. We don't have washing machines. Here, you get to use the glove now. Not probably going to work really well in our setting. But at home, it might be really cool. Interactivity is in control of you, the user, and not the designer. In my example earlier of taking something off the table or using a pencil. Virtual reality, you can pick up the pencil, you can write with it, you can erase with it, you can do things. Immersive reality, I can break it in half, stick it in my ear, do whatever I want. I get to do, I am in control. It's whatever happens is up to me. The only way this works is taking that really tight little space and slowly building it out and working it out. You'll see that the advertised sometimes there's virtual reality movies coming. Yes, if you consider 30 seconds a movie. Because that's about how big they've gotten them so far. To do real, full immersion, able to manipulate, change, interact with things, they only run about 30 seconds. They're not long at all. You can move in an environment for a long time and chain and messing with things, but to have a story that's being told and you interacting with that story, no one's come up with a really cool way of doing that to make people interested in it yet. They're getting close. The first couple of them are okay, but they're really based on a gimmick. I won't spoil the ending for you, but all of them have the same ending because that's just kind of what people are doing copycat stuff right now. Augmented reality is where we're going. And I know this is one of the things that people are like, yeah, it's another computer term, yeah. No, this is going to replace everything else. Augmented reality is a fully locationally aware overlay on reality. Two good examples I can give you. One of them you need to put on your phone today, tomorrow, is Google Translate. If you don't already have it on your phone, put it on there. It is something you've probably used on the web already or doing something where you go out and you do it. Google Translate. Translate. Yep. Translate. And on your phone, on the website, you can type in, copy and paste in text, translates it for you. So you go to a website from Hungary, wherever. I do a lot of folktale stuff, so I get these really weird websites sometimes. And you just copy and paste the text, boom, it translates it out for you. However, and we'll show, yeah, we got a couple of examples around here. I can translate anything live from one text to the other with your phone. I use this at the library every once in a while. Our my favorite story was young Arabic guy who could not, he was trying to get into the English as a second language class. He couldn't get it out, couldn't understand it. Told him, no, just write it down. He's like, no English. I'm like, no, just write it. He wrote the Arabic script and I showed it over him and showed the English translation live in front of him. And he had tears in his eyes. So it was great, able to just help anyone, anytime. I was in Thailand and everybody thought I was magic. It's great. Or go play with the IKEA app. The IKEA app is one where you take it, you film your room inside the IKEA app, and then you get to buy furniture and drop it around your room and do stuff. And you get to move things in, and it's really fun and cool. And if you look on YouTube, there's some funny videos of people being crushed by couches being dropped on top of them and stuff like that that don't really exist. So there's some really fun little bits out there.
Excuse me,
Yes?
is the Google Translate an app or
It's
a
an
website?
app. It's an app.
It's an app also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Google Glass, most people here have probably heard about, and everybody kind of thought that it went away, and it hasn't. We'll talk about what happened earlier this year with it. But Google Glass was essentially a set of glasses that had a small little computer screen up close that you would be able to film and see and do things. People thought that was going to take off. It didn't quite. It's really going to with the Microsoft HoloLens and Magic Leap. Microsoft HoloLens, forgot to grab this one, we got it off scene, back on scene, here we go. This is the Microsoft HoloLens. We will get a chance for you guys to play with this and try it out and experiment with it. This is the only one in the world you will be able to do that with. We are the only library in the world to have one out for the general public to be able to try and use. There are some in schools and development studios and stuff like that, but we're the only library that went out and did this. So we'll have fun with it. Magic Leap is a little company you might have heard of.
Yes.
They're out of Dania Beach. Anybody here not heard of them? Yeah, Magic Leap? Okay, so Magic Leap is a small little company, Dania Beach, and they're like, we've got this really cool new technology. We think we've got a really hot product. They call out Google, send us a president down here. We want to show off. They're like, yeah. They send a vice president down, and they walk out a little while later after writing a check for $500 million. Now they're worth, and this is where I keep changing. Earlier this year, I would say, and now they're worth $2 billion. They were just recently rated at almost $4 billion as a company out of Dania Beach, Florida. The old Motorola plant and plantation,
Yeah.
they bought that, and that's where they're going to be making their gear here in South Florida. They're going to be producing it here, making it here, and shipping it out of South Florida. We actually happen to live within 10 miles of the new center of augmented reality in the world, here in Microsoft in Redmond, Washington. What do? Well, let me show you a little bit here, and then we'll give you an example of why they're called Magic. I can already hear somebody's like, oh, wait till you see this, wait till you see this. Yeah, it's a crazy video. This is just crazy people. Now, let's take a look at what they've got here. This is really awesome. You can see they cut off the floor just perfectly. They know exactly where that whale in water is in relation to the floor. It bounces off the ceiling. It bounces off that back wall. The waves go out great. It's amazing, and it's all a lie.
Sure.
Because there's no way this can work. And I've had people from Magic Leap in my classes, because we're lucky to be the cutting edge library in virtual reality in the country and have them right nearby. We've had some of their engineers and stuff with us at Creation Station. I'll say this to their faces and they just kind of hang their heads. You can't do this. It's not possible. There's two ways you could do this. One is you do a projection. So if you were going to do holographic projections, this little movie called Star Wars, Obi-Wan, please save me, you're my only hope. You could do something like that. If you want to spend about a city's worth of electricity to create something that size. Because it takes an immense amount of power and computing energy to be able to pull off a projection like that. they are starting to actually make them work. I mean, I don't want to say projection is never going to happen because somebody's got a tabletop size one that runs off of a PC now inside of a plastic cube. But it's getting there. We're getting close. But it's not this. Or everybody would have to have glasses on. And if everybody here has glasses, then everybody can see those holograms like that big whale out there. Notice this is a school full of kids, and none of them seem to need glasses. I don't know why. However, so they're not seeing anything. They're just semi-good actors out there pointing and shouting and yelling. Kids are good at that. We live in the future. So, it's a really cool idea. It's going to happen, and when you guys get a chance to try out the HoloLens here, you will be able to see them. Thank you very much. You'll be able to try out and see exactly how good that is. I've got some very basic animations scattered around the room right now. In fact, I forgot. I'm sorry. I put this right on top of the ballerina. Trust me. Questions on that before we get into actual gear stuff? Yes?
You said it's impossible, we can't do that, but you just showed it there, then we can see it.
Because that's just filming. That's just taking one layer, filming an empty gym with kids pointing and oohing and eyeing, and then putting another film on top of it of a whale jumping out of the water. It's an animated whale. It's really nice, but
It's superimposed.
Yeah.
On this, reality stuff, can you guys say 6 people into one scene?
yes and no. Yeah, if you've never been in one of my classes before, I will always say the answer is always yes. Then the trick is how. And there's the problem. In this case, I can tell you, one of them is you would do it through connecting through various things. We'll talk about that in just a minute when I get to the gear part, why it's just basically going to replace everything else. But B, there's also, you could do it right now yourself on Google Cardboard. Now, when I get to there, I'll bring up Expeditions, which is something that is pairing people along with that. Yeah.
There's a show on television now, it's called Pure Genius. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Because a
Um,
lot of these things, I mean, a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
like Westworld on HBO. I've recorded it just to have it sitting there. I haven't watched it. I haven't have time for TV, really. So I haven't watched a lot of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And yes, those kinds of technologies are real and are out there, and I'm going to hit one of them in a little bit here for you. So another hand.
What's the name of it?
Real Genius. Apparently it's
It's a good show.
Pure Genius. Pure Genius. I'm sorry.
Genius. Yeah, sorry.
Going to be canceled, I heard.
Really?
I heard it's going to be canceled here in after the. I don't know. All I know is people tell me, "Oh, you got to watch the show because it's going to get canceled." And I'm like, why do I want to watch it if it's going to get
Because
canceled?
it's good.
So you need some sort of display when you're doing these things. Your display can be anything. It can be a regular monitor. Nice big monitors help. Doesn't have to be. Your regular computer monitor works fine. Most people right now are using their phones because you're using Google Cardboard or something like that, and you're using your phone as the visor. If you've seen, I had a couple people tell me that they found these great sales, this $25 virtual reality thing and stuff like that. Those are okay. It's a nice little entry-level thing to get you into it. Just don't think you're really doing virtual reality, and don't think that you're going to get a great experience out of it. If you see something on here and you say, "Oh, this is horrible, this is useless," it's the device, it's not the concept. You need to do it on a big computer to get that deal out of that. Talk about that in a second. But one thing you definitely will find out too is your phone will never be as hot. Doesn't matter whether it's Samsung or not, it's going to get super hot when you try and do virtual reality. And it is going to wear out that battery as fast as you've ever seen. I can't get my phone to last for 8 hours, it seems. And when you start doing virtual reality stuff on it, you're going to bring that down to 2 to 3 hours max. It just burns through things so fast. Optical projection, like I started to talk about there, that whale, to do that kind of thing, somebody's got a new procedure. They've always had optical projection between slivers of glass, which was kind of useless. Because if I want to do holograms, I want them to be anywhere. I don't want to only do holograms inside of one thin little bit of glass. Now they've got a thing where it's the box. Now instead of a thin sliver, they've moved it out to a box cube shape where they can actually project inside of it. It's really cool. You can fool people into thinking you can do this too, by the way. If you've got an old CD case and a phone, go to YouTube and look up CD case projection, and you can take a nice sharp X-Acto knife, cut your old CD case up into a little trapezoid, you put it on top of your phone, and now that reflects up and it looks like you've got a fish swimming inside and things like that. It's a really cool science trick you can pull off and impress all your friends and kids. And that's all it is. It's a cool trick. It's that mediated reality thing we were talking about. Leap motion is the way you're going to control that. Because if your phone's up here in front of your face, how are you going to do anything? How are you going to control it? Leap motion's a really good alternative for that. We have that at the library. You can come check out, just like everything, for free. And Leap motion is a little box about the size of a pack of gum, and it replaces your keyboard and mouse to use for your computer. You just start using your hands. It's kind of like a Kinect for an Xbox, if you guys have been playing on Xboxes, where you can manipulate things with your hands and change and do stuff. It turns out the biggest thing we use it for at the library is playing chess. Chess has overtaken the library. We now have 4 chess sets and a full giant-sized chess set and video chess going on. It's insane. They're actually going to start doing tournaments or something. It's crazy. Cool. HUDs. Anyone have? What is this? Huh?
Heads up display.
Yes. Yes, not a cabinet position. So, heads-up displays are used by the Air Force and in really fancy automobiles I can't afford to drive. These are a version of mediated reality because it is simply showing you what is the computer's generating and putting up, but it doesn't have any relation to what's going on around you, really. So for the automobile, it can show you the directions, it can show you where you're going, it can show you the speed you're driving at, but it doesn't know that it's about to drive you off the cliff because the bridge is out. So it's going to have you drive straight, and blam, there you go. So you need to have something else. You need to have something else that relates to the location, and that's augmented reality, not the mediated reality heads-up stuff. So you've got your visors. You've got Google Cardboard. Google Cardboard is out there now. There's more than 25 million of these been put out into the wild. There are apps galore for this kind of thing. You can do all sorts of things. It works on almost any phone. It works with a lot of different things. And if anyone ever tries to tell you virtual reality is it's just for games, it's just for kids, put them in the Syrian refugee camp and let them walk around for a minute and see if they still think that now. It is a great way of doing quick, fast things to show people. I mentioned earlier expeditions. Google Cardboard has something called expeditions where you are the leader, who's ever chosen to be the leader, and then you can have 5, 6, a dozen kids or whoever following you along doing a virtual tour. And there are tours of Machu Picchu and Paris and London and under the Great Reef and all those sorts of things. So you can go out and explore all these areas and go on these field trips, all virtual reality, and all you need is your phone and some sort of Google Cardboard. There are other types. Galaxy Gear is the most famous of the other types of these headsets. And that's put out by Samsung. Usually it's free or at the most $100 when you have the right Samsung phone. And we don't have it at the library precisely because of that. I'm not going to make you buy a special phone to come to the library. It works okay from everything that I've heard from people. It's okay. The Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive. As you saw earlier, the big black shoebox that you put on your face. These are things that give you full immersion. They block out everything around you. All you see and all you do is what is being pumped in, whether that's 360 video or real augmented or virtual reality. HoloLens does full augmented reality and does a little bit of virtual reality stuff to you. And these all are some type of visor that you wear like you've seen so far. Then you've got eyeglasses. What we talked about earlier, Google Glass, where it's just a sample set of glasses with a little computer screen here. They are still in existence. We knew this because somebody tried to sell one earlier this spring and it got yanked down from eBay really quickly because it wasn't supposed to exist. It was an enterprise version of Google Glass made for the military. And so they can walk around with their little cyborg eyes and do what they want to do. And yes, this is we live in the future kind of thing. That's what Magic Leap's going to be. We now know, because companies do have to file patents every once in a while, Magic Leap's going to be a version of a glasses of some sort. The current speculation is they're going to be like those old-fashioned Ray-Bans that you wrap around, and there's going to have a wire going down to a battery pack with the computer on your hip. Because you'll notice all these things take up a lot of power and running. The HoloLens runs on its own. It doesn't need a computer. Everything else needs to be attached to a computer right now. Then you've got, yeah.